And we're very happy right now to be joined by Mark Plichta, partner at Foley Lardner. Thank you so much for being here. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit to start off about your company.
Well, Foley Lardner is a 1,000 lawyer law firm. We have offices across the U.S., a lot in the Midwest, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, but also California, several offices, East Coast with New York and Boston, D.C., and in Florida. Also a few overseas offices. We do all kinds of what you would call traditional business law, corporate M&A, litigation, etc. We're a little unique that we also have a very large intellectual property practice, which has been part of our practice for a long time. It's becoming more important nowadays with IP being more and more important.
Okay, now this is sort of a dicey question. We talk about different automobile companies, in particular GM with the ignition switches. There have been problems in various companies. How should management respond to that? What's the best way?
Well, I think, obviously every situation is going to be different based on the facts, but the key overriding principle is get out in front of it. We learned from GM and others that, trying to hide things is only going to cause more problems. Get out in front, look proactive, be proactive, and that's your best solution.
Okay, well, the panel says that vehicles are becoming smarter and smarter thanks to additive manufacturing. Is there a risk that too many new high-tech features are becoming, distractions for drivers?
Well, I think that's a real risk, and in fact, I think that some of the technology helps to alleviate that by putting the technology in places where it's easier to not be distracted, such as heads-up screens, etc.
Right.
But at the core, it's still a distracting thing. Even just talking. If you're talking, but you're not holding a phone, but you're still talking to someone, that's a distraction, and that's a very simple one.
Well, perhaps the ultimate in additive manufacturing is what Google is trying to do with its driverless cars. And what do you think that the fruition of this will be?
Well, I don't know when it would happen, but I'd be really surprised if it doesn't eventually happen. I mean, it's me a matter of when, not if.
That's crazy. Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would be like.
It'll be fun. But some people will always want to drive and like the experience of driving. But for a lot of people, it's just transportation. And if you can get to where you want to go without having to worry about it, that's a great thing.
It's like something we would have seen as kids on the Jetsons, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
It's just, okay, so have the U.S. automakers really returned to global prominence? And how competitive do you really think they are?
Well, I think, they're very competitive. I mean, obviously the quality has improved greatly. If you look at all the metrics of quality, they are very, competitive and comparable to their worldwide competition. Also, if you look at it from a cost perspective, whether it's through low energy costs, through labor costs moving up in other countries, et cetera, they really are competitive from a cost perspective as well.
And how likely is it that reshoring of automotive parts manufacturing will occur in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I think there's some of that is going to happen and is happening and will continue to happen, but it's always going to depend. I mean, for instance, if a lot of the big manufacturers will say, if we are selling cars in China, and we're going to make them in China, and we need you to be in China. And so that work is always going to be overseas, and some of it actually more might be going overseas. But for some of those reasons of price, et cetera, that I mentioned before, I do think, especially for heavier things, and again, going to cars for U.S. consumers, you will see more reshoring of that.
Okay, Mark Plichta, thank you so much for taking time to be on M&A TV today.
Thank you.
Great to see you.